Hey, it's Sandy with Quilted Treasures and more. And I've got to make sure that I actually have sound. Okay, I've lost my sound. Ah, there we are. Okay, making sure I actually had sound on this one. Hey, I hope y'all had a great weekend. It has been a busy day around my house, and you can still hear some of the buzz in the background if you listen closely. My daughter's dance team was involved in the Distinguished Young Women Spotlight Talent Showcase today. So it's been a very exciting, very anxious, very energetic day for all of us. So I'm looking forward to a little deep breath and just painting. And speaking of painting, I have this little project I'm working on right now. It is a 14-inch um, Easel Art piece. And so it works well sitting on an easel or on a plate stand, either on a counter in the kitchen or maybe in the entryway to your home on a table. Also works well on a mantle or on a table, maybe a side table or a shelf on a bookcase. So I like the little easel art pieces, especially for Sunday evenings because they work really well. So, and if you were wondering, did she forget time change? No, I didn't forget time change. It's just been a busy day here. So we started things bright and early this morning getting ready for the talent showcase and doing the hair and the makeup and all that good stuff. So I'm just happy to kind of take a breather for a few minutes. So it's a good way to end the day with sitting down and chit chatting and painting a little bit. Oh, speaking of painting, let me change my screen here. Here we go. Now you can see the big picture of what I'm working on. All right, so this is a springtime, but it's also Easter themed. So we've got our little Easter egg here. We've got a couple of little birds. As you can see, I've been playing with. A lot of times I'll use this technique for buffalo plaid, but I'm using it just on the stripes just to give it a little bit of a weathered look. So looks really rough right now, but it will all straighten out as I fill in the other colors and get things squared away. So I'm going to start with a little bit of white. I got one little white flower here that I want to do. So I'm not going to take up much room here. I'm just going to dip it in the lid and just work with this little flower. So you may or may not be very familiar with the Distinguished Young Women. If you are from around the Mobile area, from a few years ago, we'll just say, you may be familiar with the Junior Miss projects that went on. And so Distinguished Young Women is the I don't want to say revamped version of that. It is what I guess what it changed into when the Junior Miss changed over. So it's programmed with scholarships and has helped. My goodness, many young women. Matter of fact, you stated a while ago that this is the 65th year. So most interesting, that particular program. And so you can find distinguished young women all around the U.S. and they have a big um, community night and I guess pretty much pageant night or pageant weekend, actually, because I believe it goes for 3 days. That's coming up in June. So, Distinguished Young Women is the program. If you know someone who is in high school, a young lady, and would be interested in looking into their scholarship program or just their program in general, because it's a uh, really neat business venue or venture that they've got going on. Okay, so I've got my little white flower done. And now what I want to move to, just thinking in my color schemes and trying to think of something um, that would be the next lightest. This one's kind of hard because I've got some darker colors. I've got spring colors, but they're the bright pinks, and so I try to go from the dark to the light, or the light to the dark. Sorry, and I am just kind of having one of those moments thinking here. What do we want to do next? Okay. I am going to do the center of this one, my sunshine yellow. So if you saw the springtime truck that I did, and I still have to post pictures of that one, I know. I haven't forgotten. The springtime truck that I did last Sunday, it had all kinds of bright colors. Matter of fact, you can see the remnants of my colors sitting here, where I still have a couple of things I need to touch up on that one. And then I'm going to post the final pictures. All right, let's go for the leaves next. Normally I would say not green next, but... And I'm using not a lot of each one of these colors, and so I'm just putting them in the lid of my egg carton here. Don't forget, as you jump on, just to say hi. Even if you are watching the replay, you can still say hi. Let me know you were watching. I like to say hello to my friends and family and followers as they sit and watch and hang out with me on a Sunday evening or Sunday night. So I said it had been a busy day, but it's a very, very proud day. Very proud mama on the other side of this camera. Proud of my girl and proud of the girls on the team, the dance team that she's a part of. They did a fantastic job today. All right. I'm going to throw a little orange in here. I really want this one to be, like I said last week, I'm just into the spring. I'm ready for spring colors. I guess I have looked at enough of the winter colors and some of the more neutral colors that I am just ready to see bright spring colors. And so I did the baby delivery truck. It had some pretty bright colors. And now I am doing, or I did the spring truck last week. And now I've got this birdhouse, which is more for Easter because it does have an Easter egg. But it's also got all the pretty spring colors. All right, so after the whole spotlight talent show thing, we ventured and ate Mexican. So no, I do not have a cold. I'm not contagious. We had Mexican, and salsa just, opens up the sinuses, gets everything where you can breathe really well. So, okay, on this particular, the bigger flower, I did the smaller flower in white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some pink stripes to that one. But on this bigger flower, I am going to use a carousel pink. I like this pink. And so I'm going to use carousel pink. And just make this a really bright pink color flower. I had to take my door hanger down the other night. For those of you around the Mobile area, we had quite a bit of wind And of course, about the time we got ready to go to bed is when it started picking up. And so all of a sudden it sounds like someone's knocking on my front door. And what it is my door hangers and beating against the front door. So I had to take it down because I didn't want it to, number one, I didn't want it to beat my door half to death. But number two, I didn't want the wind to keep moving it and then risk it coming off the hook and hitting the concrete porch below it. Okay, so I have that flower, that flower, that flower. The birds, I am going to do the birds in a bright blue. I like little bluebirds. And I thought that would be really, really cute for this little Easter / spring piece. This bright blue for a bright blue bird. I have several different color blues that I could have used. I had actually the true blue out, and then I decided I would go with the bright blue. Now, the trick to the bright blue is that you want to make sure that you have base coated white underneath it. That way it will have a nice bright blue to it. Otherwise, you'll have to put quite a few coats down in order to get it to show that pretty bright blue that I'm looking for. I'll still have to use a few coats, 2, maybe 3. But if you don't put the white down, then you have to do more coats with this particular bright blue. And I could have varied that up just a little bit, and I may do that on the second coat. Maybe add a little white to this bird here and make it just a little bit lighter. So I may do that on the second coat. Sometimes I'll add white or maybe vary up the color on the second coat just to give a slight difference between two things that are side by side. And in this case, it's 2 of the same thing, 2 bluebirds. Now, if I didn't want to lighten this one up, I could darken this one up with a little bit of a darker blue or just a very small dot of black. And so it would darken this one up just a little bit. I think I can go ahead and start my second coat on this one. Just working my way around the outside edge. And just trying to get this one coated evenly. And I may have to do a third on that one. I don't know. I think 2 is going to work nicely. All right, now I'm going to take this blue and I'm going to add just a little bit of white so that it makes it just a fuzz lighter than this one. Now, if I didn't want to mix together the 2 colors, what I could do is paint it blue and then come back and add white over the top. which would have lightened it up. Oh, I may have gotten this one too light. Let's see. Let's see how this looks. It may not be too bad because I'm going over the first coat, and so it may just lighten up that first coat just a little bit. And just right here between the two birds, lighten that up just a little bit. Okay, so just a little bit of variation there between the two birds. And what I'll probably do is come back with a darker blue and do just a little bit of a wing on the both of them. So that will work. All right, so we're just going to put a little bit of blue right there where I dropped a little bit of water. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my pink flower. And I'm going to add pink back to the flower. And just darken it up just a little bit. And that way it'll be nice and smooth. Okay. As far as the flowers go, I need to go back and touch up the green a little. One more coat on the green leaves. I'm almost to where I can do the egg, little Easter egg down here. And then I'll work on the birdhouse as far as the edges go. Add another coat of sunshine yellow. Oh, I'll have to get a little bit more of my orange. All right, so my flowers, other than getting my outlines and my highlights, are ready. The birds are ready. And now for the Easter egg. So on the egg, I'm going to start with a color called Laguna. And, well, you know what? I take that back. I'm going to work on my stripes first. And I'm going to do that in a color called bubblegum. Bubblegum, bubblegum. All right, so I'm going to do these stripes just with a little bit smaller flat brush. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the stripe. I'm not going to draw it out ahead of time. I'm just going to hand do a few stripes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Laguna and go on either side of my stripes. And then that way, I won't have to keep working with the pink to get it to show up on the Laguna. And I could have done the reverse. I could have done a pink egg and then come back with Laguna stripes, because that would have worked. It would have been a lighter on a darker color, so it would have showed up pretty well. But you have to be careful with some of the lighter colors whenever you're doing them on dark colors, because it changes your color just a little bit. Okay, so a couple of more sections. With the Laguna, I touched in the pink. Rinse the brush and go over that one more time. And then I'm going to get the last little bit up here. All right, and I'll go over that Laguna one more time and brighten it up. Okay, so now we are down to the house part. So what I'm going to do with the house is I'm going to do the edges in a light brown. And then from there, I am going to do a few things in like some shadows in a darker brown. So this is just a honey brown, and I'm just doing what would basically be the roof. And it really could have been any color. I just decided I would throw a little bit of brown in here. And then the bottom part, we're going to make brown. A little bit of clumped up paint there. All right, so there is the top of the house. Uh-oh, I forgot one part. Dry my brush off a little bit here. I forgot the hole or the entrance to the birdhouse. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use a darker brown and come back and create a shadow on this one once it dries good. Put a little bit of heat on here and just blow it dry a little bit. I had a couple of little water dots here. See if I can get them to dry without having to repair. But just give it a good going over and try to get all my colors dry. And then that way I can finish out and get the outlines done. So that way you can see everything really well. I thought I could get that to dry where I wouldn't have to touch it up, but sometimes it doesn't work out quite the way we want it to. That's okay. We'll touch up that blue in just a minute. All right, so I'm going to go back over the brown on the roof's edge. And also the entrance to our little birdhouse here. And of course the bottom. Any paperwork that's going to verify our suspicion about their illegal testing. Our sample that PN 130 got the good job. Any kind of testimony that I can. Now I've got a darker brown here. This is actually a new color, milk chocolate, that I bought. And so what I'm going to do with it is I'm just going to take the edge of my brush here, just the tip end of it, and dip it in. And while this is still kind of wet, I'm just going to blend in some of this darker color to create a shadow. Inside our birdhouse. Actually may come back with a little bit darker brown. All right, now that we have most all of our items taken care of here, I am going to go over this one more time. I do want the Laguna to be a smooth shade, even though I do want to add some polka dots to my Easter egg, and I think I'm going to do bright yellow polka dots. All right, so our last little sections here. And now what I'm going to do is get a liner brush, and that's just a thin round brush. And I am going to take some of the carousel pink and just add some little pink details in this little white flower. Now I can also turn around and on my pink flower do the same thing, but with white. So what I'm going to do is rinse off the pink and get some of the white. I'm just going to add a few little white detail lines here in the middle of the flower. All right, so one more thing I wanted to do, and I'm going to get a, let's see, I don't really want to use Victorian blue. Let's try navy blue, a little bit of navy blue, and just come back and do a little bit of a shadow for the wing on our little birds here. So I am going to get, I'll keep using this brush. I'm just going to get a little bit on one corner of my brush. And all I'm going to do is just create just a little bit of a wing look here on our bird. Just a little bit of a shadow. Where we can see his wing. And then for our other bird, won't be as much of a wing, but I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to use just a little bit of the navy blue. And do just a faint outline of the wing on our little bird friend there. Now with my liner brush again, I want to add a little bit of green, dark green to our leaves here. And what I'm doing is just creating what would be the vine or the veins of our leaf. So I'm just creating that center line. right there on our 3 little leaves. Now it's just a matter of adding some of the smaller details like our eyes. So all I'm going to do is just add with my round brush, just fill in the eyes. And I'll probably come back and add a small white dot once it's dry. So that way it looks like there's just a hint of sunshine bouncing off his eye. All right, so now what we're left with is just going over and outlining everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find just a little bit bigger round brush to outline with. And I'm just going to dip into my black paint and just start outlining around the leaves and the flowers. And then that way everything just stands out. So if you've noticed, I have had some little blurbs talking about the online art club being open for members. If you know someone who loves to do art, whether it's your child or maybe your grandchild, or maybe it's your niece or your nephew, the online art club is taking members. And what the online art club is you get 4 online lessons every month. And you can choose between the video only option, which means you have access to the online video lesson and you purchase all of the supplies needed. Or you can choose the box version, which with the box version, at the beginning of every month, you'll get a box and it will have some art supplies or art tools in it to help you build your art supplies and art tools, the things you need to create your masterpieces. So membership is currently open for that. And if you've seen my post, then you've seen the link. I got into my black paint. All right, let me find wet wipe to the rescue. And somewhere I got into pink paint. I'm not real sure where I did that. If I'm not careful, I'll have pink paint all over the place. All right, so I may have to do more than just a baby wipe for this rescue. May require some touch-up. And since it's black on white, that's probably going to be likely. But that's okay. Every now and then, the baby wipe is not the magic trick. Sometimes you have to do a little more. All right, so now I'm just going to work my way around the opening to the birdhouse. And that way it is outlined and stands out. And I've got to do my eggs and my little birds. So I'm just going to work my way around the egg. And I'm still thinking about adding some polka dots to the egg. I think that would be really, really cute. Especially if it's bright yellow. One more Eastery bright spring color added into our Easter and spring birdhouse. Work my way around the little birds here. And I'll add some highlights to our birds as well. You'll see all that in the finished version when I post it. Just a little bit left on our little bird friend. I've gotten so used to it being pretty much dark by the time I start painting stuff on Sunday nights that a while ago when I looked out, I was like, it's almost time for me to paint, but it's not dark yet. It always takes you a few days to get used to that time change, doesn't it? Longer days and warmer temps. We'll all be finding more time outside or finding more things to do outside, spending more time outside. I'll probably also come back and add just a little bit of detail for wood for these uh, edges here. I thought I was going to make it all the way to the end without having to dip more into the black. Okay, I'll need just a little bit more. And also, I'm going to spin this around just so I don't stick my hand in any more paint and make any more boo-boos. Just get right along the edge and finish out my outline. Try not to stick my hand in the paint again. So I think that's what I did a while ago. I was trying to get my outline around the flower, and I ended up sticking my hand in the paint of one of the other flowers. One little spot right there. All right, now I'm going to take the chocolate brown that I have, and I'm going to put it in the middle of these flowers. I thought about doing black, but then I was like, no, I'm going to do the darker brown. Have the center of the flowers just a little bit different than the eyes of the birds. All right, so other than just a few highlights and some little touch-ups here and there, I've got to fix my little spot here where I stuck my hand in the black paint, and then, of course, touch the white part. So we will finish or touch that up and get that cleaned up, and then I'm going to add just a few little details, highlights here and there, and once that's done, then we will post pictures this week of our cute little Easter birdhouse. And again, this is a 14-inch, so it works well as easel art, where it can be placed on an easel or plate stand, either on a countertop or bookshelf, also on an entryway table or on a mantle. Well, I hope y'all have a wonderful week, and I will be painting several things this week, including a housewarming sign and another business. It's not a business sign. It's actually something that will be used at a business that deals with parties, so in-home parties. So excited to get some of those new pieces done and show you those as well. All right. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week, and thanks so much for watching.